Tonight on Texas News Channel, a domestic shooting leaves 3 dead in the Arboretum area.
Javier Ambler's law passes in the Texas House to halt reality TV contracting of Texas law enforcement.
And leaked UFO videos confirmed as legitimate unidentified flying objects.
You're watching Texas News Channel,
your leader for live, local, UT coverage.
Your campus, your news. Texas News Channel.
Good evening and welcome to Texas News Channel. For Tuesday, April 20th, I'm Alexa Sherry.
And I'm Erika Sykes. Thank you for joining us tonight.
3 people were found dead after a domestic shooting near the Arboretum Shopping Center happened on Sunday. The shooting occurred shortly after noon at the Arboretum Oaks apartment to stem from a domestic dispute, and the suspect has been identified as a 41-year-old, Stephen Nicholas Broderick. The victims were Broderick's ex-wife, adopted daughter, and the daughter's boyfriend. There was also a child involved, but this was put into police custody. Austin police arrested Broderick this morning and charged him with capital murder.
As we look at the last month in this country and the number of active shooters we had, I really think what happened here is a model on how we have to respond. It has to be a very aggressive law enforcement and fire department response so that we can make sure that we get on scene and we can stop the shooter from going mobile or killing any more people.
Over the past few weeks, the country has experienced dozens of mass shootings. According to licensed mental health counselor Kelly Knapp, news of gun violence is becoming normalized in our minds because it's become so common. These shootings include the incident at the FedEx facility in Indianapolis, the shooting at the Atlanta area spas, and the shooting at a bar in Kenosha, Wisconsin, among many others. The rate of mass shootings is only continuing to spike up in the month of April.
Currently in Texas, to own a firearm, you need a license. However, the House Bill 1927 would change that. The bill, dubbed Common Sense Carry by its author, Matt Schaefer, would allow people to obtain firearms without the need for a license if they are not prohibited to possess a gun. Critics of the measure included some law enforcement officers, veterans, and a group of faith leaders. Having been approved by the Texas House, the bill is now on its way to the Senate.
Lawmakers are considering a bill that would allow the revoking of tenure from a professor if they file a lawsuit against a student. This piece of legislation was drafted in response to a UT Austin professor who sued multiple students that were accusing him of promoting pedophilia with his research. Thomas Hubbard, the professor, says that his home was vandalized and that he received little cooperation from the university in resolving issues, so the only option left was to sue. The bill targeting faculty-student lawsuits, which was filed in addition to another bill that would shorten the tenure review period, is still pending in committee.
Early voting for the upcoming Austin election begins May 1st and goes through Tuesday, April 27th. One of the major items on the May ballot is Proposition B, which gives voters the opportunity to choose whether the city of Austin should reinstate its camping ban that was reversed in July of 2019. This ban would make it illegal to camp in certain places and to sit or lie on public sidewalks. Austin Mayor Steve Adler has said he expects a close vote on the proposition.
The Texas House passed a bill which bans reality TV shows from partnering with state and local law enforcement. Javier Ambler's law passed with 110 votes and now moves to the Senate. In March 2019, reality cop show Live PD captured Javier Ambler's arrest by Williamson County deputies after a brief car chase. The video shows Ambler saying he had congestive heart failure and couldn't breathe. Officers tased Ambler several times, and Ambler died an hour later. His arrest did not air on Live PD, but the Williamson County Sheriff's Office was frequently featured on the show.
A Brooklyn Center police officer, Kim Potter, shot and killed Dante Wright, a 20-year-old black man in a Minneapolis suburb, on April 11th. The Brooklyn Center Police Chief, Tim Gannon, spoke about the case.
As I watched the video and listened to the officer's commands, it is my belief that the officer had the intention to deploy their taser, but instead shot Mr. Wright with a single bullet. This appears to me, from what I viewed and the officer's reaction and distress immediately after, that this was an accidental discharge that resulted in the tragic death of Mr. Wright.
However, Dante Wright's family can't accept the fact that Wright's killing was a mistake. Nyesha Wright and spoke during a press conference stating it was murder.
Say his name!
Dante Wright!
Say his name!
Dante Wright!
They murdered my nephew! She killed my nephew!
Listen!
Every pistol, every taser, it has a safety on it. She saw that she had.
The police officer who shot Wright was arrested and charged in his death hours after the incident. She resigned from her job 2 days later.
About 1,000 protesters gathered around in Chicago after the death of Adam Toledo, a 13-year-old who was shot after raising his hands in the air. The crowd chanted, "No justice, no peace," as protesters held signs that said, "Stop killing kids," and "CPD can't be reformed." Jesse Fuentes of the Illinois Latino Agenda stated he was robbed of a full life, and there is nothing that Adam that would have justified his murder. As of now, the Toledo family are seeking legal action against the officer who shot Adam.
Last summer, Garrett Foster was fatally shot during an Austin Black Lives Matter protest. Now, a Travis County District Attorney wants to bring the case to a grand jury in the next few weeks. The grand jury will determine if charges will be filed against Daniel Perry, the man who shot Foster. Perry claimed the shooting was self-defense, saying Foster pointed a rifle at him when Perry encountered a group of BLM protesters while driving near 4th and Congress. We will keep you up to date on the case.
Austin FC had its first inaugural match of the season this past Saturday against LAFC. The two teams played in Los Angeles for their regular season debut. Although Austin FC did not play at its new home stadium, Q2, dozens of supporters gathered around Austin for watch parties to support the team. Austinites gathered to watch the game from places including Circle Brewing Company, a brewery located near the Q2 stadium. Many people also viewed the game from multiple screens with food and drinks at the Long Center near the downtown area. Although Austin FC lost 2-0, fans are still creating an exciting atmosphere in Austin when the Q2 Stadium welcomes its first home game debut to Austin FC against San Jose on June 19th.
On Friday, Austin musicians received their COVID vaccine at the music venue Emos. The event was hosted by the Health Alliance of Austin Musicians, or HAAM. The group aims to help low-income musicians have access to affordable health care. Members of HAAM and musicians in the community were eligible to receive the vaccine at Emos. The organization will have another event on April 29th, with 800 Moderna vaccine shots planned to be given over the two-day event.
The UT Senate is calling for UT Austin to increase the number of COVID-19 pass-fails from 3 to 6 for the 2020 to 2021 school year. The Senate says students are still impacted from Winter Storm Uri in February, during which students experienced almost a week of power and water outages, lack of access to food and water, and financial damages. UT Austin implemented the 3 pass-fails in fall 2020 in response to continued effects of the pandemic on the UT student community.
On April 14th, it was announced that over 100,000 COVID vaccines were administered by UT Health Austin. This comes after the announcement on March 12th that the UT community should plan for a near-normal fall 2021 semester. Hartzell also announced that many more in-person classes will be available along with possible phased openings of libraries, museums, galleries, and performance spaces moving forward. At the end of the announcement, there was a message that the university will be ready to reinstate additional restrictions if the condition of the pandemic changes.
Usage of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was halted last week by the FDA after 6 cases of blood clotting were found to be linked to the vaccine, one of which was fatal. Johnson & Johnson have refuted the claims of the connection and have said that their vaccine should not stop being administered due to COVID-19 being a larger public health issue. So far in the US, over 6 million people have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and this Friday, the CDC Prevention Advisory Board is set to meet and discuss the resumption of the administration of J&J vaccines.
The Defense Department confirmed last week that a leaked video from 2019 of a triangular object in space was actually an unidentified flying object, or UFO for short. Alongside this video of the triangular-shaped UFO, the Pentagon also confirmed 3 other leaked videos of a spear-shaped UFO, an acorn-shaped UFO, and a metallic blimp UFO. These confirmations come after the Department of Defense created the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force last August to investigate UFO observations.
Dude, I don't know what's going on, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is now. Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Coming up on Texas News Channel, Swastika Sah will be bringing you up to date on the world of business.
So stay tuned and we will catch you after the break.
Your campus, your news. Texas News Channel.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Swastika Sah with your business update. As of this morning, NASDAQ is up by 9.03%, S&P is up by 11.43%, Dow is up by 11.74%, Bitcoin is up by 94.49%, and 10-year is up by 1.58%. Stocks future dipped a little on Sunday for all 3 major indexes ahead of a major week for earnings. Bitcoin was slammed over the weekend with a major outage, with crypto's future being liquidated by 864,000 in a single day. Tesla, which holds Bitcoin, was down by 2%, and Coinbase, which just made its public debut last week, fell more than 3%. Meanwhile, in COVID news, we have 84.3 million people in the United States vaccinated. So that does signal a potential sign of normalcy in the coming months. On April 14th, a cryptocurrency exchange, Coinbase, went public on NASDAQ. Coinbase was founded in 2012 by former Airbnb engineer and current Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong and Goldman Sachs trader Fred Ersham. This IPO was a historic milestone because it is the first major crypto company to go public in the United States. Not only that, but this new exchange is bigger than exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ, with a valuation of around $86 billion. This success reflects the rise in cryptocurrency, which could potentially be classified as an asset class that is adopted across traditional finance. While travel and hospitality companies like American Airlines have struggled during the pandemic, they expect summer travel to rise by a significant number. During the first quarter, seating capacity in Q1 fell by 43%. However, the company said that the capacity will soar upwards to 90% domestically and 80% internationally during the days that are warmer. While CDC still warned everyone about the pandemic on Tuesday evening, this won't stop airlines from preparing a Project X-style summer where they fill the surging demand. The company Berkshire Hathaway Energy, owned by Warren Buffett, has moved one step closer to its plan to build 10 new power plants across Texas. The plan laid out by executives for the company has been drafted into formal legislation, which promptly drew oppositions from energy stakeholders who claimed the plan creates an unfair economic advantage. However, the bill author made clear that Berkshire Energy would not be part of the state's electricity market and would only serve the purpose of a highly regulated backup electricity source. And that's for your business update. I am Swastika Sah reporting live from the Business Center. Now over to Josh Fowler for weather.
Well, Longhorns, last week we saw cloudy skies. Will they be making a return? I'll let you know after this. Welcome back to Texas News Channel. Last week we saw temperatures go down with some rain and thunderstorms, but it looks like we'll be seeing cooler days with some more rain, so be prepared. Tonight, expect for the temperature to drop to 44 degrees with wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. Wednesday, there will be sunny skies with a high around 70 degrees, and at night the clouds will roll in with a low of 51. Thursday will be mostly cloudy with a high of 71 degrees, and on Thursday night, there's going to be a 40% chance of precipitation with a low of 63. Friday, be sure to take your umbrella out in case you go outside because there will be a chance of 80% precipitation with a high of 79 degrees. Throughout the day, it will be partly cloudy and the temperature will drop to 59 degrees at night. Hopefully this weekend, the rain will go away, but expect on Saturday for the high to be around 80 degrees and the low around 60. And finally on Sunday, expect for the high to be around 90 and the low in the 60s. So throughout this next week, be sure to dress according to the ever-fickle Texas weather. That's it for me, live from the Weather Center. I'm Josh Fowler.
Thanks, Josh. And now looking at UT Sports. Joining us tonight is Cameron Trout. Welcome in, Cameron. It's great to have you on.
Thanks. It's great to be here. I'm self-admittedly not the biggest sports fan, but I always show up for my Longhorns, and I obviously brought the gear today. But getting right into it, yeah, I'm very excited. But getting right into it, this past weekend, the Longhorns amassed a total of 32 runs. Let's take a look at the highlights from Game 2. Starting out at the top of the first, ACU's Brett Hammett hit a single, allowing Grayson Tatro to score, bringing the score at ACU 1, Texas 0. Not much happened between the second and the fifth inning, but at the bottom of the sixth, Texas's Zach Zubia hit a single through the right side. Then Ivan Melendez also hit a single through the right side, allowing Zubia to get to second. Next, Silas Ardoin walked, allowing Zubia to get to third. And finally, Douglas Hodo walked, bringing Zubia home. This brought the score up to be tied, Texas 1, ACU 1. At the bottom of the seventh, Zubia again hit a single up the middle, allowing Trey Fulton to score, bringing the score to Texas 2, ACU 1. At the top of the eighth, Grayson Tatro for ACU hit a double to the center field, but Texas thwarted his attempts as he attempted to run to third base, and they got him out. At the bottom of the eighth, Cam Williams for Texas hit a double to left field, allowing Eric Kennedy to score, bringing the final score to Texas 3, ACU 1.
So, Cameron, tell me, why has Texas won 13 games in a row? Why do you think?
Well, to be honest, I think it is just a lot more focused on how well they're doing batting wise. They're really hitting out of the park, if you catch my drift. Mind the pun. But it's also just a greater maturity as a team. I think learning from their tough start to this season, they really started to put in the effort and work. And now we're really starting to see it come to fruition for the team as they're really starting to mature and grow as a team, both together as baseball players and I'm sure as people as well.
So why do you think it is that Mike Antico is so good?
Well, Antico really is the heart and soul of this team. It's really evident in how they play. I mean, he is really just so attached to all of his teammates. He also really gives his teammates something that they didn't have before. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So are you expecting UT to make it to Omaha? What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I definitely think this team can go to Omaha. They just really need to keep everything in check. They've obviously been putting in the hard work these past couple of weeks, and the results are showing, but they really need to make sure that they don't get too high on their successes and make sure that they're keeping that work ethic up so they can drive those wins home.
Well, Cameron, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure. And up next is entertainment with Ana Lorant. We'll catch you after the break, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to Texas News Channel. I'm Ana Lorant. Last Sunday, internet star Jake Paul fought retired MMA fighter Ben Askren in a highly anticipated boxing match. This was Jake Paul's third ever match. However, none have been against professional boxers. The fight was short-lived with Jake Paul knocking out Ben Askren in the first round. Paul's participation is coming under fire, though, after sexual assault allegations came out against Jake from a TikTok influencer named Justine Paradise. Justine came out with her story last week, but Paul has yet to comment on that situation. After meeting on set in Thailand a couple years back, Macaulay Culkin, actor from well-known movie Home Alone, and Brenda Song, known as London Tipton from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, soon moved in together after filming, and just a little bit ago, on April 5th, the couple welcomed their firstborn son into the world, Dakota Song Culkin, who is named in honor of Culkin's sister Dakota, who passed away in 2008. Actor and UT professor Matthew McConaughey has teased TV talk show hosts and other people that he might enter politics here in Texas. McConaughey has criticized both the Democratic and Republican parties and suggests that there's more of a moderate. A poll conducted April 6th through 13th surveyed 1,126 registered voters and found that 45% of Texas registered voters would vote for McConaughey and only 33% would vote for Abbott. Last week, Colton Underwood came out as gay in an interview with Robin Roberts on Good Morning America. The former Bachelor star opened up about his journey of self-acceptance, and soon after, he announced that he was working with Netflix on a show following what he calls his gay life. There have been backlash, however, as his Bachelor ex, Cassie Randolph, filed restraining order against him after they broke up, with her claiming that he was stalking her. She responded to the situation by thanking fans for the kind messages she was receiving. Taylor Swift releases a pre-recorded version of her album Fearless and debuts at #1 on the 200 Billboard chart. This is 12 years later after her original album Fearless came out and notched her first #1 album on the Billboard 200 chart in 2008 for 11 non-consecutive weeks. Fearless, Taylor's version, includes the 13 tracks in her original album along with 6 tracks that were added on in 2009. Swift included 6 more tracks that were written during the Fearless era, but were never released until now. That's it from me with your entertainment news. I'm Ana Lorant. Now back to you.
Thanks, Anna. And as always, we thank you for tuning in.
You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Texas News TSTV.
If you have a news tip, you can reach us on all our social media sites or email us at news@texasstudenttv.com.
I'm Erika Sykes.
And I'm Alexa Sherry. From all of us at TNC, good night.